So let's go and look at blue now. Alright, we got Anti-Cognition. Counter-target creature or planeswalker unless the controller pays 2. If an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, instead of counter that spell, then scry 2. Here's the problem. Quench is a card you never played. And having 8 cards in your graveyard, I think I am leery on whether that's actually going to work. I'm just going to probably put this in the card you're probably not going to play. This is probably a great sideboard card if your opponent has 6 drops that you can't deal with. It doesn't even exile a card if it hits. Yeah, Quench is a card was a skill testing card in previous sets, which was just 2 mana counter a non-artifact spell unless they pay 2, and that card was just bad. But here's the thing, on turn, like, what turn are your opponents gonna have 8 or more cards in their graveyard? Turn 6, turn 7? Like, they're gonna have 2 mana to pay for this. Oh, it's instead counter that spell. Oh, I did not see that. I thought it was just scry 2 if they have 8 or more cards in their graveyard. It's good on turns 2, 3, and 4. Probably bad on turns 5, 6, and 7. It's probably good again on turn 8 or 9. Okay, you probably play this card. Yeah, it would have to see how many hard it is to get 8 cards in your opponent's graveyard. We'll reevaluate this at the end when I see other commons. Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board. No, you're right. I read this card like three times, and all I saw was scry 2. I didn't say instead counter that spell. Yeah, the wording is not obvious. All right, Bubble Snare. Here's the battlefield. Yeah, this card's great. Always play it. Yeah. So these types of effects are significantly better than the ones white has. And the reason why is often the ability to destroy enchantments is often instant speed, or the way to grant protection, which there is there is the uncommon that grants protection in white. And for the white ones, when you grant like their giant creature like protection from blue and have it fall off, the creature is still tapped. So they can't block with it. You can't be blown out in combat with that. Now on the flip side, if there's untap abilities, then you get blown out. But from what I've seen, there are no untap abilities in this set. I think it's very often that it costs 1 mana. And in a pinch, you can make it cost 4 mana. Yeah, this card's great. Always play it. And unlike Capture Sphere in the past, which was a 3 and a blue like flash card, there were times where I didn't play that card because it cost 4 mana and it's like pretty slow. I don't know if that's actually ever going to be the case for this card, because I think you're going to be able to do it for 1 mana a lot. All right, 4 mana 3/3. When there's a battlefield, scry X. Okay, so in the past, there's been like 4 mana 3/3. What, scry 2? And that card was bad. And so this card is going to be worse than that a vast majority of the time, I think. So I think this card you would just not play this card. All right, Chilling Trop. Target creature gets -4 until end of turn. If you control wizard. What? Yeah, always play this stupid card. They printed this card before. I think it was worse before. And why is blue, like, blue should be not be getting like these cantrip murders. I'm not even joking. Here's what happens. Your opponent attacks with a 4/4, you block with all your creatures, and you Chilling Trap their guy, and it dies, and you draw a card. Yes. Befuddle cost 3 mana. Yeah. And that card was amazing at 3 mana. Target creature gets -4 until the turn, draw a card. This is 1. Whenever Cleric of Chill Depths blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap. Yeah, you probably just never play this card. It's gonna be like a 2 mana 1/3 gain 3. That's what it is, right? It's just not a playable card. I talked about how there was that white uncommon that's what it did, right? 2 mana 1/3 like gain 2 life. That could be a land, and I thought that card was unplayable. I thought that card was worse than basic planes, and I think this card's gonna be worse than a basic island in your deck. So the Party Matters cards would have to literally be draw a card, and you'd have to have at least 2 or 3 of them in your deck for you to justify playing this. I think a big downside of this card is it doesn't work on offense. The problem on defense is Vigilance stops it, and it doesn't tap the creature, and it doesn't work on offense. So it's like, there's like so many downsides to the card, I just wouldn't even bother. Alright, 3 mana 3/2, when there's a battlefield, if it's kicked. Yeah, this card's great. Always play it. They've pissed it over, there've been a ton of cards that do very similar things. And the problem, here's the thing that I always hate. I hate that these things can hit your own stuff. They can't get away from it. I wish this said target creature your opponent controls. Because it makes cards like the white arrest card. It just makes them unplayable. Here's binding. It just makes cards like this just like not a playable card, because your opponent can just have the cutting geyser mage in their deck, and then they can just get their creature back. I hate it. I wish this would just say a creature opponent controls. Deliberate. Scry 2, draw a card. Yeah, this card's great. Always play it. Flying, as long as you control a wizard, as when this creature dies. Yeah, this card's great. Always play it. Wow, this is what it's like to have play. Remember when we were in white, and 7 out of 19 cards in white were playable? We're already up to 6 playables in blue. Oh, this is what it's like to have playable commons, you say? Draw 2 cards. If this, oh, yep, always play it. It's great. Divination has historically been a fantastic sealed card. This is like strictly better than Divination. Yeah. 3 mana. Tap target creature. Its controller mills 2 cards. That creature doesn't. Wait, what? Tap target creature. Its controller mills 2 cards. That creature doesn't untap. Okay, so you could do it on your opponent's turn. It stays tapped 2 card. And it draws a. I did not expect this. Like, I actually thought this wouldn't draw a card. And, like, I thought that would just be what it is. It tapped our creature, doesn't untap, they mill 2. I thought that's what it did. It draws a card? This isn't the set! Crippling Chill with upside. Yeah, Crippling Chill is a card you always played. Which was just tap a creature, draw a card, instant speed. Huh, you probably just always play this. Unless milling is downside, which I don't think it is. Into the Royal, return target online permanent to owner's hand. If it was kick, draw a card. Yep, always play it. What is it like? Living Tempest, 5 mana 3/3 flash flying. Yeah, fantastic. Always play it. This card was in like the first Ravnica set not too long ago. And that card was amazing then, and it's gonna be amazing now. Negate, you probably don't play it. Yeah, Spire Monitor. Yeah. You probably don't play this in Negate main deck. Kind of just depends. If your deck is really, really good, you should probably play Negate. But generally, your opponent's gonna have probably between like 11 and 13 creatures and probably 10 non-lands, and of those, probably only 5 of those things matter. And the odds of you like having untapped mana when that happens and having this in your hand are pretty low. It's a bad top deck. If there's looting effects, this gets a lot better, because if you can like pitch it to do something, like for a new card later on, I can totally imagine this. You just main deck this. I would imagine you don't main deck this, but I think there are some. It's a fantastic sideboard card. Risen Riptide. Whenever you cast a kick spell, Risen Riptide has base power until just 5. Oh, what? I'm just gonna lose to this card. I'm gonna hate every second of it. Your opponent's gonna be like, have it into the Royal. Your opponent's gonna have it into the Royal in their hand. 4 mana untapped. And you're like, okay, I guess I can't attack. I don't know. I guess it depends on your deck. I would expect you would need between 8 and 10 kit cards to play this card. I guess they can be sorceries if you're like an aggro deck. The fact that it's not a party member is kind of a downside. I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating this card. I don't know how many kit cards I'm going to be opening. Because white certainly didn't have any that were any good. So maybe you're only going to have like 3 or 4 in your deck, and this card sucks. Yeah, I mean, blue having Into the Royal and Bubble Snare and cutting Geyser Mage is pretty awesome. But I don't know if other colors can do that. Zulaport Duelist, in the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -2/0. Its controller mills 2 cards. So Fairy Duelist was really good. But this is not Fairy Duelist. Fairy Duelist, like the 1/2 flyer, was a real card. Like a real creature. Like a 1/1 ground guy is not a real creature. You'd probably not play this. I know it mills too. I think I'm probably pretty unlikely to play that in sealed. Alright, 2 mana, kicker 4, enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, they just cannot help themselves. This was a red card in Dominaria. It was a double red card in Dominaria. And for Risen Riptide, you can get back a kicker spell. And he goes infinite with Into the Royal, right? With his bounce this. Yeah, always play it. It's gonna be great. 2 mana, 3/2 landfall. Whenever it enters a battlefield under control. Sky Cleave Squid. Yeah, this card's great. It's not a party member. That's downside. I would probably almost always play this. There was a card in the past that was, I think, a 2 mana 3/3 that you can pay 2 to attack with it. And that card was great. It was like a Merfolk. I would imagine this card is similar. Probably, yeah, Wistful Merfolk. This card looks like it would probably be pretty similar. Shell Shield, Random Kicker. Of course, it has Kicker. Why wouldn't it? Target creature you control gets +3 until the turn. If that spell is kicked, it also gains Hexproof. Great. So this is, like, here's the thing, right? Why would you play Negate if you had this, right? This is just Dive Down with Kicker. Obviously, Dive Down, which is a single blue. But the fact that this is Kicker is probably upside when you have cards like when you have like Risen Tide in the format. You would probably almost always play it. This card is significantly better than Ranger's Guile. Plus, I like +0/+3 is a lot better than +1/+1 as a combat trick. Because your opponent can attack with a 4/4 and you block with like a 3/3 and a 2/2. And you can actually play spell Shell Shield and like you don't lose a creature no matter how they order it. I mean, obviously you do it after ordering. But yeah, like you wouldn't really you would play Shell Shield main deck before you play Negate unless your opponent has like a Planeswalker or something you need to counter. +1/0 until end of turn and you can't be blocked. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature in your party. Wow, so that's so weird that it's so weird to evaluate this because, like, at first it lies to you saying that it costs 5, but it actually costs 4, you know, because, like, this is Rogue. It's so weird that I think this is not the first time. I think they did it several times in the set. And you can activate it multiple times. Yeah, it doesn't say once per turn, does it? It's just like a blue fire breather that's unblockable. This card's amazing. What? And it's a 2/3. It's not even understated. Yeah, you just always play this card. It's a win condition. Great blocker, great attacker. Evasion. Rogue. Yeah. I'm just gonna lose this. Yeah, this card's great. So in white, we had 7 commons that were good and 12 that were not. In blue, we have 15. In blue, we have 15 that are good. And Negate's not even bad. It's conditional. It's a great sideboard card. And these are 3 cards you would probably just never play. That's crazy. What a difference compared to white. Which has nearly nothing. Like white just has like doesn't have cards that say draw a card on it. And they just have like literal creatures with no text boxes. So how many blue commons have draw a card? Alright, Royal Mage, Into the Royal, Glacial Grasp, Field Research, Expedition Diviner, Deliberate. I would go so far as to say that Gaijin Mage is draw a card, Chilling Trap, because you're drawing like an unsummon and casting it. Scry 2 is like half a card. Yeah, you know, no big deal. No big deal. They can't help themselves, dude. Yeah, blue is just busted. I think almost all your seals are going to be blue.